Tia, Junior, and Justin, she got a taste of freedom and wanted even more. The focus now turns toward Christine herself and the criminal act of deserting her children.
Sounds like child abandonment to me.
I agree.
Law enforcement went to the point of charging Christine Sheddy with child abandonment and getting a warrant for that offense.
But this new direction is more than Christine's mother can bear.
She was a good mother.
All I knew is something really bad had happened because she would never leave her kids.
Lynn insists that her daughter would never willingly abandon her children.
Oh, I just don't think that you're running this investigation properly, that's all.
Lynn got into heated arguments with detectives.
Hello?
She said, Christine didn't run away. You've got to try and find out what happened to her.
Lynn is convinced that her daughter is missing, and even worse, that she has been the victim of a violent, terrible crime. And she's about to learn more about what happened to Christine from the most unlikely of sources.
Right away, I smelled fire.
Police are investigating the disappearance of 26-year-old mother of three, Christine Sheddy, who months earlier vanished from a farmhouse in rural Maryland. Detectives had suspicions about Christine's estranged boyfriend, Levi, but they now suspect there was no foul play. Instead, they believe she skipped town and left her children behind.
We were putting all this together and thinking she's run off and left her kids behind. She wanted to get away. She's somewhere, we just haven't been able to find her yet.
It's a theory that the evidence seems to support.
The last three notations here are all local adoption agencies.
Police found the telephone numbers of several adoption agencies in Christine's diary, and what they believe is a farewell note at the farmhouse.
The police think that she's abandoned her children, and they have filed a charge against her.
It's a slap in the face to her mother, Lynn, who is convinced something bad has happened to Christine, most likely at the hands of her boyfriend, Levi.
Oh, I just don't think that you're running this investigation properly, that's all.
The police and Lynn got into these huge arguments.
Hello?
Ultimately, to the point that I suspect that they probably stopped taking her phone calls.
With the case growing cold, Lynn decides to take matters into her own hands.
Yes, I'd like to talk to a reporter.
Lynn is very strong-willed. When she has her mind set on something, she will get it done.
Her name is Christine Sheddy.
Lynn is like the mama lion who's not going to let anything happen to her cubs. And if something does happen to her cubs, then God help you, because she's going to come after you.
Yeah, and I need your help.
After learning about Lynn's plight in the local press, the tight-knit community rallies around her.
Lynn organized several search parties in the woods around the farmhouse where Christine was last known to have been.
Oh my goodness, there was like, I'm saying well over 100 people there.
Lynn hopes to find clues about Christine's disappearance, or worse yet, her body.
Hey guys, over here, I think I found something.
It was a thickly wooded area. It would be easy to hide a body or evidence in that area because it is so rural. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. These volunteers were trying to do everything they could do to find evidence to lead to the discovery of Christine.
We didn't really find anything. All I knew is my daughter wasn't there.
Welcome. Please, come in, have a seat.
With no other leads, Lynn's sisters suggest they take an unusual approach. She sets up an appointment with a pair of psychic sisters.
Let's begin.
My professional title is Psychic Criminal Investigator.
We like to be known as the Psychic Vincent Sisters.
I was optimistic they could help us. Some clue, maybe something would come to them to guide us to where we could find Christine.
For the past 25 years, the two sisters have specialized in solving mysteries that have baffled police, volunteering their time to help bring closure to families.
There's several tools that we'll use. We'll use a sense of clairvoyance, a sense of feeling and vision.
Christine's family gives the psychics one of her necklaces to help focus their senses.
So, how does this work?
My sister and I, We'll channel our psychic energy and try to connect with Christine.
We don't want you to tell us any details about Christine before we start. We want to have a blank slate.
The sisters immediately begin to receive psychic impressions.
I'm feeling some sort of energy. Is Christine blonde and slender?
It was just basically all information describing Christine to a T.
Yeah, that's Christine. I felt that we were connecting, and I started to see this vision unfold.
I'm seeing something very dark.
The two sisters appear to confirm what the family has feared from the beginning.
I said, I'm going to be very truthful with you.
I'm seeing something very, very bad.
I'm actually seeing Christine not with us anymore. I see that she's dead, that she's been murdered.
Somebody finally told me the truth. Because I knew. I just had a feeling. It crushed me.
I knew she was dead. I knew it.
I knew it. You get a lump in your throat, you just cry. You get goosebumps, chills.
Wait, there's more.
As the psychics descend further into their vision, they produce another revelation. Someone knows more than they have let on about what has happened to Christine.
I'm seeing a name. I need to write this down.
I go, I'm getting some letters here. I started writing down a T.
I'm seeing Christine. She's trying to tell me something.
All of a sudden, I heard like a whisper. I heard the name Tia.
That caught my attention. Tia is not a name that just comes right out.
Christine was staying with Tia when she disappeared.
I said, that's the person you need to go look at because Tia is involved.
It makes you sit up and take notice because you just can't pull that out of your hat.
Lynn had believed that Tia was a caring friend who had opened her home to Christine in a time of crisis. How could she have something to do with Christine's disappearance? Lynn immediately calls Tia, but she refuses to talk to her. Her silence only heightens Lynn's suspicions.
Tia was sort of a defiant person, so she wasn't willing to help out.
But Lynn refuses to give up and turns to the internet to see what she can learn about Tia.
That's back when MySpace was a big deal. I didn't know how to do it, but that's when I learned how to do it.
Lynn sends messages to Tia, demanding answers.
She would basically cyberstalk Tia. She tried on several occasions to shame Tia into coming forward with knowledge.
Tia refuses to provide any information, but Lynn expands her efforts. She sends messages to Tia's friends and begs them to tell her what they know about Tia and her connection to Christine's disappearance. Lynn is desperate for anything that might help. At first, it seems no one will cooperate. But then, surprisingly, some of Tia's friends and family begin to respond. Message after message suggests that Christine was murdered and that Tia might know something about it. Lynn's intuition and the psychic sister's vision were apparently right.
Lynn missed her calling in life. Lynn Dodenhoff should have been a criminal investigator.
Have you gone on MySpace?
Lynn brings her online communications to the investigators.
I think you should take a look at it again.
Although there is no smoking gun, they notice that one name keeps coming up. Tia.
There were just things that seemed to imply that Tia knew more about Christine's disappearance than what she had told the police. That really gave us pause and made us believe that this could be a homicide.
But when investigators go out to Tia's home in Worcester County, they discover that she and her roommates are nowhere to be found.
Tia ended up leaving the area a very short period of time after Christine went missing. Tia and Junior ended up going down to Tennessee. Justin ended up moving down to Texas.
Their sudden departure is a huge red flag for investigators. But just as the case is starting to heat up, they are presented with a piece of evidence that changes everything.
Stuff like that doesn't happen. That happens in the movies or TV. It doesn't happen in real life. It just doesn't happen.
When young mother of 3 Christine Sheddy disappeared, an initial investigation pointed to her estranged boyfriend Levi, or the possibility she skipped town. But now, an online trail suggests the last people to have seen Christine, Tia, and her housemates know more than they've told the police. And they've all disappeared.
After Christine went missing, Junior, Tia, Justin left the property within a matter of days.
There was a lot of stuff going on which cast the people that live there in a bad light. You soon start getting the picture they have something to do with this missing person.
Although the police have their suspicions about Tia and her housemates, they have no hard evidence against them. Once again, the investigation is in danger of grinding to a halt.
A friend tried to tell me the longer things go on, the possibility of you ever finding her is getting kind of slim. And I stopped her and I said, let me tell you something. I don't know how I know it, but I can tell you I know it, that God's gonna let me find her.
With no new leads, the family returns to the psychic investigators who had first pointed Lynn in Tia's direction.
Thanks for seeing us again. We'll try to help you however we can.
And just as before, the Psychic Sisters have another stunning and disturbing revelation.
I'm feeling something hot.
I smell fire, and then I start seeing an image. It was a person, so when I see those images, I put them together. We felt that this person would like to set a lot of fires.
This person has an obsession with fire.
It's a description that matches Tia's boyfriend, Clarence Jr. Jackson.
We had known that Junior was a firebug. They would do big bonfires. He liked the idea of fire.
I have a little fun.
Lynn has long been convinced that Tia knows more than she let on. And now the psychics are pointing to her boyfriend, Junior, as well. But Lynn and the investigators are left wondering how they might be connected to Christine's disappearance. Finally, on January 28, 2010, Lynn receives a letter promising to answer precisely that question.
This letter just came out of nowhere. You could have knocked me over with a feather. Stuff like that doesn't happen. That happens in the movies or TV. It doesn't happen in real life. It just doesn't happen.
An inmate in a Tennessee prison tells Lynn he knows what happened to her daughter.
He said he would give me what I had been looking for 2 years.
The letter essentially says he knows what happened to Christine.
This letter was from Junior Jackson.
Clarence Jr. Jackson, Tia's housemate and boyfriend. The Psychic Sisters were right. Someone who loves fire is involved.
Junior was in jail for arson. He torched the next-door neighbor's house.
In the early stages of the investigation, Junior had insisted he knew nothing about Christine's disappearance. But now, facing up to 15 years in prison, he changes his story.
In an effort to try to get out of jail sooner, Junior told her that he had information that would lead to the discovery of Christine's body.
The letter implied, without outright saying it, that she was deceased and that he knew where she was.
Over 2 years of looking for my daughter and hitting roadblocks and then overcoming roadblocks and hitting more. It was like we're finally going to get somewhere. I could actually see the light. I knew it was there, but I could actually see it now.
Within literally a matter of hours of receiving the letter, investigators were on a plane down to Tennessee to try and work something out with the prosecutors down there.
Once in Tennessee, they meet with Junior to propose a deal.
Junior